Down here at the park for Jennings Fort Fest. Today we've got 3 Hueys coming in. Just got a phone call that they're on their way and I can hear them. Sounds like they're coming in maybe from the west. So we'll just stay right here and get some shots. Lots of military guys here. Crews follow the Hueys. They'll take care of getting tickets, any kind of problems they're having, control people. Should be able to hear them now. When they need fuel, they fly over to Van Wert and get all their fuel. So if you're lucky and you're on a ride right then, you get a big one. Here we go. Yeah.
I'm Ron Pay. I'm one of the pilots for American Huey 369. As far as the service, I spent 3 years in the Marine Corps, 62 to 65. And I got out for 4.5 years. Found out the Army had a warrant officer flight program. Always wanted to fly, so I applied, passed all the tests, the board and the physical, and went to flight school, and then spent 18 years in the Army as a pilot.
How many years you been coming to Fort Jennings with the Hueys?
Every year.
Every year?
6 years now.
6 years?
Yep. My favorite event.
There we go. We like to hear that. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, whenever you're ready, what's your name?
It's Patrick Wing, W-I-N-G, just like an airplane wing.
In your service, in the military?
I was in the Army, active duty for almost 10 years, and then National Guard for 25.
So this is your first time at Jennings with the Huey?
First time at Fort Jennings, yes. I guess they've been here several times before. But,
right.
My first.
Somebody had said just one of the Hueys was restored here just recently. They finished.
The one behind us, or behind you, there's 049. We just got the restoration finished in late March, early April, and it was brought back from the final inspection place down in Texas.
How long did that take to get that accomplished?
About 6 years.
6 years?
Yes.
Was a problem with parts, or how bad was the thing when you started?
Well, the aircraft had spent 6 years in Vietnam. It had been rebuilt twice, and then the third time it was supposedly brought back up to standard. It was used some more in the Guard and stuff, but many of the fixes that when we got into it were not what you would call good fixes. They were temporary. And since we're flying now not under the military specification, under the FAA, Federal Aviation, we had to bring it up.
There's a huge inspection then once you get that done? Who all inspects something like that?
Well, there's a bunch of us volunteer to do some initial work on it, and there's a helicopter maintenance shop down in Texas that has been good enough to volunteer some of their services to us, and then they've traded them parts from other aircraft and beg, borrowed, and scrounge parts to help pay the bills and whatever else we can do. Just
I could only imagine.
Get it paid for.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you for coming to Fort Jennings. Nice to meet you, Pat.
Thank you.
Hi guys, I'm Ron Clark. I flew 45th Dust Off in Vietnam in 1968-69. And the aircraft we flew over in Vietnam was a little bit seat configured different than this one. We had it set up for the litters and stuff, but carried 1,200 patients the year I was over there. Never lost one on the aircraft. We lost some in the operating room. I called myself a Band-Aid boy and got shot down a couple of times. Picked up the nickname of Crash Clark. So that's on the flight helmet, so I hope the people that fly with us today
don't see that.
So.
That's wonderful. How long were you in the military?
I was in 4 years.
4 years.
And then I got released to the inactive reserves and served from 67 to 88, really in the reserve. So.
Now, is this the Huey that you fly most of the time, or?
We rotate between all three of the aircraft we got, and John Walker, the president of American Huey, he assigns the flight flies with me one day. So just so happened this is the one that I flew in today.
Gotcha. Well, thank you very much.
All right,
appreciate your service and appreciate you coming to Fort Jennings.
All right, love all the veterans up here, the people who support it.
Great, thanks again.
Oh yeah.
It's a very unique aircraft. It served 6 years in Vietnam with 4 different units. The life expectancy of a B-model gunship in Vietnam is about 3 months.
Wow.
So for it to fly 3,500,
That's crazy.
3,254 hours combat assault time. The yellow little markings you see, those are Vietnam service ribbons, what we call Vietnam service ribbons.
The little rectangular ones?
Combat repairs. So everyone, as you walk around the aircraft, around the belly, the inside, and the floor, some of them aren't there because the doors are different, the cowlings are different. The tail boom is the original tail boom because all the fuselage. And because you see where everyone is, see those, that's a patch. That's where a bullet hole is patched and repaired. And people know.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at this strafe right there, that was 8 inches behind the pilot's head. When that, started ripping the holes in the middle, and you could just kind of get a feel for it.
Wow.
And honor its history and those guys that flew it.
Yeah.
And we worked diligently on it to try to get it completed in time, so a lot of those guys, because they're getting up there, and we're losing them every day, and we wanted to be able to have it available for the guys that wanted to come and reminisce that time in their tour.
It's amazing.
So,
It's the best.
Thanks for your...
Go ahead, anytime you're ready.
My name's John Walker. I'm president, co-founder of American Huey 369 organization, and we began 13 years ago with this aircraft that was never supposed to fly, and in 2 years' time restored it back to flight and started on the second aircraft. This one is known as 369. It's our tail number. The second aircraft is 803 Warrior 11 that's over in the field in front of 369, and in a year and a half's time, this one we restored between 2007 and 2009, and by middle of 2010 we had the second one flying. In February of this year, a 6-year restoration came to final with a beautiful gunship, all restored and flying. And we flew it home from Texas, where the last 3 years it was out there being restored in February of this year, on the 26th of February. And that aircraft was in Vietnam 65 to 71. This aircraft was in Vietnam 71 to 72, and 803 was there from 65 to 68. Our organization is membership driven. All the members own everything in the organization. We now, this is our 11th flying season, and have nearing 15,000 members throughout the U.S. and overseas. We've currently had a temporary museum open for 7 seasons at the former Grissom Air Force Base, known as the Grissom Aeroplex now, and that's where we hangar these 3 flying aircraft. And we're in the middle of fundraising to build the National American Huey History Museum that will be built right across from the base in the near future. And that museum will hold the history of an aircraft that started flying in 1956, the Huey, over 22 different models. All branches of service had it in their inventory. Brand new ones are still being built today in Amarillo, Texas at Bell Helicopter at $24 million a copy for the Marine Corps. The Air Force is still flying models like this, train their pilots, their helicopter pilots in Alabama. They're also flying N models still in search and rescue. So also the Huey's been built in 3 other countries other than the U.S., Japan, Italy, and Germany. With over 22 different models, and the fact that all branches of service have flown the Huey, 18-year-olds have been making their history either in these aircraft or under them since 1960, and there's 18-year-olds today still doing the same. So our mission is one of preservation of these icons, using them, coming to events like this that are patriotic-oriented or veteran-type events, to not only educate all generations, but to pay tribute to our veterans. And of course, the Vietnam veteran, was the one that grew up with this helicopter, so to speak. But like I said, 18-year-olds have been serving on these aircraft in the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and still today. So with that, we have about 40 Corps members here. We'll be offering our membership flights. All members get to fly, and that's how we exist. We have no millionaires or big companies, but everything's very structured by the book, FAA requirements. Everything's done by the book, maintenance-wise.
And you'll be here tomorrow and Sunday,
be here
right?
Saturday from 10 till flying from approximately 10 to 4. 10 to 5, and Sunday arriving here at 10 and flying probably by 11 till 4 o'clock, and then we'll return back to Indiana on Sunday.
Well, I know everybody in Fort Jennings sure appreciates you guys and your crew.
Well, we appreciate them. We have, made almost family-type relationships here.
Right.
And, the way they, honor their veterans and their country, and the history of Colonel Jennings and Fort Jennings and Fort Fest, and plus they have a good time.
Yep.
We're in this for many reasons, but the biggest of which is for people. But we enjoy the hours when we're done. So we look forward to the duck race and the car show and the American Legion.
Oh, good.
And homemade ice cream and
right.
The Fort restaurant, all of it.
Well, again, we thank you. Appreciate your time.
Well, we thank all of Fort Jennings, especially the Park Board and the American Legion, and just all the volunteers, and also the VFW in Ottoville has been so generous in Fort Jennings.
Okay. Well, thanks again.
You're welcome. So these are some of her photographs in Vietnam. The pilot, Gary Kittles, who passed away a year ago. That's 1967. And you can see the other helicopters in the background. They were waiting for a troop pickup, so the slicks, like 803 would be, were back there and the guns were always in front of them. When she went to Vietnam, she had this armament system on it that was 2 M60s stacked. It's called the M16 armament system, and had the same rockets like it. And then she had the 19 shots on her years later. This is actually one of her rocket pods. When she was in her last unit, 70-71, they were called the Falcons. And one rocket tube was painted like Pabst Blue Ribbon. The other one was painted like Falstaff. And the nickname became for the aircraft, 049, is the beer wagon. And the guy that painted them, the gunner, his father-in-law owned a beer distributorship back in Texas, so they were doing a little advertising, for their products. But so this gentleman here, when it was a Falcon, he came to our hangar about 4 weeks ago, knowing that he flew 049, but never expecting to see his picture on this. And this is 6 years old now. A lot of things are on here. This article in a newspaper here talks about her when she arrived in Pennsylvania. We didn't even know her years ago. And that was 2008. We were only 1 year in our second flying season. So that's an article about when she came from California to Pennsylvania. Of course, she hadn't flown since 1982. She was just jumped. And then this article was how Walt Disney got involved creating the Smiling Tiger for the first cab that you see right here above his shoulder. And you can read that article if you like. And then there's all her lineage, all her history.
Now, that was at a private owner's house?
That was at a helicopter place that we knew the guy that was in the helicopter business of Bell 47s, and his name's Scott Churchill, and he ended up donating. We had something he needed, he had something we needed, so we did some trading, but it looked like on paper he made a donation to us, and we made a donation to Bryce. So, yeah, you can see Bill Flowers, Mark right here, Hopkins is gunnering right now. There's Gary over on the other side, and Paul Boggs is over there. Tom Clare's doing photographs over there. Ron Pay right there talking. And Bill Flowers, I think he's somewhere here. He's over there, right here. And all that was 6 years ago. 78 places on her, of course, are the Vietnam Veteran Service Ribbon. That was our maintenance director. When they had the whole aircraft tore apart, they were able to identify all the hits to structure by, bullets. So they laid out a map of them, and it was his idea to have these little chrome bezels made and then have the plastic service ribbons, so they countersunk and riveted those bezels on, and then they epoxied the service ribbon on there. They're under the belly, they're in the compartments, they're under the pilot seats, they're under the dash, they're stenciled some places on the insulation because they couldn't put them on there. And they figure that is probably less than a quarter of the hit she took in 6 years. Once again, the average life expectancy was 3 to 6 months.
No, that was just that critical to that point. And then when you're in the air, depending on the angle that the gun was using, that this thing fired 2,000 or 4,000 rounds a second. Every fifth round was a tracer. So like the Cobra, our sighting station, came down here, and a butterfly, you lift it up, and you would just squeeze. You got just a couple rounds up, and you would just drop it down. Guided it like that. You don't even look at a sight. It's like squirting a garden hose. You just point the garden hose, and you could move those rounds by eyesight.
Well, I don't know if that's good analogy. We live in it like the old state football game with the kid playing. Yes. I mean, that would have been a lot more fun. You guys were having fun about doing this. That's fun. But now that you guys can get through it, it's really good for service. Good thing.
Oh, he's just glad to be alive.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's cool to have. Puts a little more reality on what they deal with. Yeah.
It's like it slowed down a little bit faster.
Welcome home, sir. Thank you for freedom.
Morning. Mom. What you doing, Jan?
Are you filming?
Yeah.
Just getting lunch.
Getting lunch ready for the folks?
Yeah, I'll go down there so they have one.
Well, they deserve it, don't they?
They do.
We often risk our own lives.
I don't think we really thought about it.
Yeah, that's what I say,
risking our
unconsciously, whatever.
It was like, we got to figure out a way to do this. And you're so busy doing it.
Yeah, it was
You don't even think about it. The closest I came to it flying was, I remember going in one place and we could get hurt on this one. And that was about it. Then it's too busy. The time I remember being really scared was when I was on the ground and we were getting shelled and rocketed. Because that's just feeling of helplessness. You've been there. You hear it coming and you go, just not here. Just not here.
We lost a pilot and a medic. They were just right before they touched ground, the mortar round came right down through the top of the aircraft that exploded. And of course, obviously, airplane, helicopter crashed on the ground, but both the guys on the right side were killed, and the two guys on the left side survived. You just never knew. Sometimes the enemy just got lucky.
Starting the first flight for today. away from us.
I say direct him since he doesn't know where we're going. Yeah, practically directly across. Let's do it.
That's what Vietnam's had to do. I'm not taking it all the way.
There you go. Somebody thought the car alarm.
They're probably going to be in.
This is not bad.
Roger, over and out.
Well, Gabriel, I don't know what we're going to do with it.